Spenser Confidential. I think Netflix here smells a franchise.
Come here,
Spencer.
just sit down. Shame on you. Did they violate you?
No.
Sexually?
What the hell are you talking about?
Did you engage in ass play, Henry?
No.
You can
Bitch,
tell me.
please. Stop playing.
Hey, if you're like me and you're self-isolating because of the corona apocalypse and just watching Netflix and trying to chill, you're probably watching movies all day long. Well, the flick I'm going to talk about today is Spenser Confidential. And warning, I'm about to spoil this bitch big time. It's based on the book Wonderland by Ace Atkins. Spenser Confidential is about a cop who goes to jail for beating his captain like a Kevin Spacey assault charge. Then after 5 years in the pokey, he gets out, and the same night the captain is ruthlessly murdered. Well, instead of blaming Spenser, the cops are actually going after this decent good cop named Terrence Graham, who they find croaked by apparent suicide. Well, Spenser, this is his call to action because, he knew Terrence and he knew he was a good cop. I say good cop because we know there's no good cops out there, but I digress. So he begins to investigate this murder, and through the investigation, he finds an audio recording of his old captain that proves he's crooked, and also that he's in cahoots with Spenser's old partner, this really creepy cop named Driscoll. Well, he hands over the evidence to the feds, but they decide it's insufficient evidence, so Spenser's got to get even more. So he goes to Driscoll's drug pusher and then half drowns him in a foot spa at a Chinese nail salon, finding out what the next drug shipment's going to be. Well, together with his halfway house partner, this giant Frenchman named Hawk, they go down and they take out the shipment. They murk 2 of the traffickers, but a third one gets away in time to warn Driscoll. And so in retaliation, Driscoll kidnaps the halfway house's manager, this really old cranky Jew named Henry. Well, he says if they don't come to the Wonderland casino that's being built, somewhere there on the Boston shore, within an hour, he's going to murk old Henry. And, well, Spenser can't let that happen. So, together with Hawk, they jack this giant semi-truck named Black Betty, which is just an excuse to play the song by Ram Jam. They crash into all of Driscoll's henchmen. They get in a big-ass shootout, and eventually Spenser's got to chase old Driscoll inside the casino, where then he beats him worse than Joe Biden did to Bernie in the primaries. Well, after that, he ties him up Batman style, hands him over to the feds with a bunch of drugs, and enough evidence to put old Driscoll away forever. And then at the end of the movie, he's sitting there with old Hawk watching TV, and they see the fire chiefs getting arrested for arson a few years back. And he's shouting, "I'm innocent, I didn't do it." Because Spenser knows he's a good fireman, he's got to take the case. He looks right at old Hawk, and you can see it in his eyes. He's about to kill again, but this time for great justice. Well, if the name Spenser sounds familiar to you, it's because there's about 48 novels with this cat in it. And it's not the first time he's been on the screen either. He first showed up in the 80s with that old Spenser for Hire show, played by Robert Urich. And here, this time, he's played by Mark Wahlberg. And, well, Mark Wahlberg, he knows violence, having beaten a gay man blind in his youth. But we digress again. We don't want to ruin it all. But I know that from watching Entourage, you can definitely recognize almost all of Wahlberg's little entourage buddies in this movie, from various henchmen of Driscoll's to just random machete-wielding dudes in a McDonald's. It's a little fun. If you're going to be in a movie, why don't you bring all your friends in it, And I think because of that, you can really feel the chemistry with everybody. 48 novels, that's a lot of books. I mean, that's more than Jack Reacher got. This film, you know, it kind of plays like Lethal Weapon, just not the good ones. But the chemistry is great. I mean, Wahlberg is surrounded by a great little ensemble of actors, from Alan Arkin to Winston Duke, Bokeem Woodbine, Iliza Shlesinger, and Mark Maron. So, you know, and the chemistry you could tell between all of them is pretty good and it's fun. But it just doesn't rise up to that, like, Lethal Weapon 1 or 2 status. You know, it's definitely a 3. So, that said, it's directed by Peter Berg, who Mark Wahlberg has done like 5 movies with this cat now. If you don't know who Peter Berg is, he directed Battleship and starred in Wes Craven's Shocker. And that was one of my favorite movies growing up. Mainly because that little kid would scream cuss words at the cop, you know. And what's cuter than a kid saying to go fuck yourself, right? I'd say the movie overall works well, but their surprise villain is so telegraphed in this. I mean, you can see it coming from the very first time he shows up on screen. And it's played by old Bokeem Straight Jack and Saves You the Mad Cream Woodbine. And here, he just sneers like he came from villain central casting. So, you kind of expect it. But overall, the movie's fun, fast-paced. There's not very much story there, you know, not a lot of twists and turns. It's why the cops didn't just find the audio recording at old Terrence Graham's house when they sacked it earlier. That's beyond me. Like, the worst cops in Boston, apparently, is what this movie's kind of trying to show. But, I mean, cops, we already know they suck. So, what are you going to do, right? And, as a comic, my favorite part definitely was watching Iliza Shlesinger get railed in a dirty bar bathroom on a sink, getting filled up with Mark Wahlberg's Mad Cream. And I think as a comic, my fellow comics out there, we can all relate to that. Overall, I'd give Spenser Confidential a C+. You know, could have been a B if there was a little bit more story in there. But we're definitely going to see a sequel to this one. Just because there's no way Netflix isn't going to pop it out. It's been out since March 6th. This is roughly March 25th, 28th right now. And, I mean, these days are just going together with the coronapocalypse isolation. Getting all insane over here. I don't even think I've washed my balls in like 2 days. But, yeah, it's been like on the top 10 list of Netflix's most popular in America since it's come out. So it's gotta have those downloads. Like, I'm talking fucking Adam Sandler numbers, like ridiculous 6 numbers. Check this one out on Netflix. There's definitely going to be a sequel, so you might as well get on the Spenser train now before it gets worse. And that's my little quick review of this thing. I'm Robert Gresham. Follow me at Rob C. Gresham there on Twitter. And keep watching The Underhole. Don't let spoilers ruin your life.